Oh, is there an armory here? What can I buy here? Oh, silver weapons? Okay. Give me a silver lance. We can buy a couple extras. I mean, I have like infinite money, so just put stuff in my convoy in case I need to grab it in battle. Sure. Okay, that should be fine. Damn, I really wanted to promote LaRachel, but she's been getting levels so slowly. What is Noel? What is Natasha? B E. It's not great. Alright, let's go to Darkling Woods. There are a lot of enemies in this chapter. Okay, so there's two ways to approach this chapter. We can bring a lot of units. I guess I'll bring Erica. You can either go around, which there are a lot of enemies, or you can go over this mountain and try to take a stab at the boss from here. There are a lot of reinforcements in this chapter, so here's what we're gonna do, I think. I'm gonna bring Serene, and she's gonna bring a bunch of javelins, although I'll have the convoy, but you know what I also want is Tana, because she can also get over the mountain. And I'm basically... Do I still have that talisman, or did I use it? Looks like I used it. Okay, that's fine. Let's grab a javelin. They're, as always, going to be extremely important. So everybody else is just going to go over there. I don't have Tethys, which is unfortunate, as always. Okay. This guy have Shadow Shot? Yeah, that's a little annoying. He's not gonna move though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do this. Mur has 26 Dragon Souls left. Okay, that should be plenty. I hope. I hope. I hope, I hope, I hope. I mean, it should be plenty, yeah, for sure. We want to, so basically at this point, there's only a couple of chapters left. There's this. And then there's just a final chapter, which is like a two-parter. So we need a few stones left for that, but for the most part, we can use a decent amount here if need be. We'll see. You do that, Reeve. No. This is a siege chapter. There's two bosses, kind of. There's a big Draco zombie that's very similar to Mur that we're gonna have to fight. I think it's actually Mur's dad or something. Maybe she just knows him. I don't remember. And then Reeve, who's I think got the same stats as last chapter. And I don't know if he moves or not. I don't remember. But I don't think you have to kill him. Yeah. Cormac still just does not take magic well. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay. So I'm gonna snipe this guy right now. Oh, she's like running out of all items. You need to back up and heal. I'm with you too. Sure, Natasha. Natasha's still doing work even at chapter 20. $68 damage. Mur gets like so ridiculous because she has effective damage against all these enemies and she's just so ridiculously strong. The really annoying thing about this chapter is the reinforcements that are going to show up around the boss and trying to like get a good opportunity to kill the boss and seize. So that's what we're going to be on the lookout for. Yeah, maybe I take back Ainz. The fact that he can still one-round an enemy at this stage in the game, it really goes to show you, I think, just how like weak a lot of the enemies are. Like this is the basically penultimate chapter, and these are the stats of the enemies. Like I don't think Sacred Stones is like super easy, but you know, very different from some of the other games for sure. For sure. Nice. Yeah, dodge me both times, bud. I just want to make sure one of them didn't have a halberd. It should be fine. We'll summon, because why not? Maybe the stupid Gorgon will attack. So as we can see, the Phantom is now level 2. I mean, even though he's level 3, but when he summoned it, obviously he was level 2. So the Phantom does get stronger. I think he actually caps strength. I don't know about the rest of the stats, but I'm pretty sure he caps strength eventually. But obviously that's not until you become much higher. And we will not be getting Null that high, unfortunately. That was 140, 210 minus 6, that's 204 damage or something. Pretty good. Nice. You can see though, even at this stage in the game, how close she is to one-rounding these enemies. I mean, she is some of them because of the crits, but like if I just had that energy drop, man, and as it performs so differently with it as opposed to without it. You gotta be close to level 20, yeah, level 19. Damn. Destroy him. I was hoping she'd get to 20. Oh man, it would have been so much more satisfying had the strength gone to 22. Oh well. She's ridiculous, obviously. No! My little phantom boy. Not sure why he wanted to attack Dusel. I don't think this is gonna end well for him. Oh, Dusel's like, fuck this! Stop dodging me! I want to make sure this one hits. Speaking of a lot of damage, that was 210 damage right there. That was a 70 crit. Okay. How much more do we? Yeah, we still have 21 left. And you have a javelin. Sea lance. Okay. What if we did like this? Please crit. Vanessa, please. We have crit and we have a chance to use Pierce. Okay, nice. I could just use the legendary or divine or whatever it's called in this game, but I figured there's high enough chance. And if she didn't kill him, it's not the end of the world. What level's Natasha? Yeah. Natasha having 5. I know this is like pretty irrelevant, but Natasha having 5 defense is ridiculous. I don't know why she has that much. Got an oddly like really strong Natasha. No, just like I'm not using her. Sure, okay, you wanna kill someone? Oh, Diesel took a big hit. I guess Shadow Shot will do that. Alright, let's summon. Now level 3 Phantom. Hackers, yeah. We're moving up in the world. Okay. Sword Slayer, huh? Well, I have a U Slayer. My guy. You can be pretty liberal with divine weapons in this game. I mean, I do still have an entire use of a hammer and staff if anything really goes wrong. And when do you have a halberd? Why do I keep thinking these guys have halberds? I don't know. Maybe there's one earlier in the game that has a halberd that I just am remembering. I don't know. Yeah, we can pick up Natasha, I guess, and bring her across the mountain. Stay out of range, though. I don't want anyone to die for nothing. Should be fine. I don't know what Renok's doing, but he's running around. Ooh, nice Pierce. And a crit. We actually required both to kill him, but that's okay, we got there. Really, out of everyone who could have attacked, Garrick was the one. don't know why they all decided to attack Garrick, but I guess I'm happy with it, so. These eyeballs, man. I don't have like a big thing about eyes, but I don't know, man. These things are weird. Alright, so... No eyeballs showed up, that's good. They will, I believe, eventually. Sure. I love Serene's inventory. Iron Lance, Javelin, 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 Javelin. It's a very GBA Fire Emblem inventory. Are we winning, son? Of course, Matt, of course. I have never lost and never will. How much can we do to this guy? Oh, not that. Not that. Whatever I just looked at, I don't want to look at it again. We're always winning, exactly. Exactly. Alright, let's set up Myrrh in a good spot. I'm gonna need to transfer a frame over. I'm pretty sure eventually there's gonna be some malcontent spawning there. Yeah, there's no way you can rescue Otherwood. Oh my god, she can. Alright, well, that works. It didn't show up yet right now. You guys all have just a bunch of like axes and shit. He has a halberd, but if I like stand on a, there's no way. Should be fine. Alright, man, sounds good. I'll move down. Phantoms fly? Yeah, I didn't realize that either. They were going over water earlier, and I was like, oh, I didn't. I actually don't use the I've always known that like Summoner's pretty strong, but I never really use it because I'm always like, ah, Null sucks. But honestly, I'm with you. Like I didn't realize quite the strength of them. These things are awesome. But yeah, apparently. Jesus, Garrick's ridiculous. Apparently. Oh, well, I guess it's okay. She doesn't die. At this point, losing most units isn't that big of a deal because I like to keep, oh. Okay, no crit. I don't think there's any way I get double because he's way down a bunch. I was actually just wondering if Reeve moved. Okay, we're fine. That was scary. I was actually trying to get the Phantom over there to bait Reeve because I couldn't remember if he moved or not. But apparently he does. Yeah, I like to keep the flyers alive, no matter, depending on like which ones I'm using at this point, because they're really useful here for like transporting. You can 100%, if you want to go all the way around, you can do it. It's like no problem. I don't know. I'm lazy, I always want to do it this way. Alright, Mur, fuck him up. Whatever you say, Keeve. Okay, I really need her to stand here because I need her to fight the, I just need to make sure that this doesn't break, because we can hammer in it. We just need to make sure it doesn't break. You can't hammer in the Dragonstone. That is the one thing I will say. That would be really busted. You cannot do that. At least I don't think you can. That would be really strong. Silkor Meg. Let's do this, so Tanner doesn't get in any, like, weird danger. Kill this guy. We could just use him as a bait for one of these. Probably better than doing anything else. I guess that's kind of all I can do because I've used all my flyers now. I guess I probably won't need Seth or Dusel so they can go back there. Okay, I think we're good. So, I don't know if Mur's going to be able to one-round the boss. We're going to find out. If she can, we should be able to seize next turn. If she can't, then we're going to have to figure something else out. Maybe use Vanessa too. Seven hit, 2 damage, 21 crit. What the hell? The helicopter. The animations look so cool. Just what I wanted. It surprises me actually a little bit that they don't let the lords use other weapons when they promote. Seems like he would be able to use swords, but he can't. No, my phantom. Feels bad, man. These phantoms are giving their life to the cause. Ugh, much more. Alright, what does the boss look like? I mean, I should be able to one-round him, right? Oh yeah. Wait, I die! Oh no, I can heal. Jeez. This boss is so strong. I think... Yeah, so the thing about this boss is it's very similar to the final boss in FE7, where although he has 38 attack, like normally she wouldn't take shit because she has 38 defense, but his attack goes through defense, so... My dragon is better than your dragon. Hey, we got there. Prince Leon. Alright, one more, well, kind of two more chapters. Final chapter, the Sacred Stone. Alright, this chapter is also fairly straightforward. This is another one where warp is really nice, because trying to get to Leon, or Lion, or Leon, or whatever his name is kind of a pain. He has a Naglfar. Because there's a bunch of these Shadow Shot ones in the back, and Stone, and all that stuff. There's also two of these guys, which are really strong. They're really similar to the, boss we just fought. So, okay, looks good, everyone. We're bringing... Okay, she says the 19 hits with that. Get a new one of those. In fact, just get like a Silver Lance and a new... Oh, I don't have another Killer Lance. Well, then take an Iron, I guess, whatever. I'm sure it's fine. What's your, probably not us, no. He's still A as well, jeez. Nobody wants to be S. She's still B. Alright, let's do this, so... I don't remember what's in the chest here, but I don't think it's particularly useful. So I'm not going to bother with trying to get them. Look at this. Even on the last chapter of the game, you still have a shitty stat white with steel sword. Like, I do think this chapter is legitimately kind of hard, but some of the, like, still shitty enemy choices at this stage of the game is, like, crazy. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna summon here. Is there any way I can get in Shadow Shot range? All those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. If I can get to there, but I think almost definitely he'll be killed by something else before Shadow Shot. Because these guys should move first. got a door key. Put that in the convoy. Oh, sorry. I don't want that. Oh, he did shadow shot him. That's good. Okay, sorry, I was looking at something else. Alright, so that's a lot of enemies up there. Oh wow, it actually hit these guys? I wasn't even watching, but damn. So none of these guys have shadow shots. No, okay. That is good. Or move. Oh, well, I meant to put him over there, but whatever. It's fine. You have stone, right? Yeah, it's a little annoying, but should be fine. Should be fine. I still have restore anyways, so. This is the last level? Yeah, well, so there's like technically one after this where you fight like the demon whatever, but yeah, this is. This is indeed. There's a lot of eyeballs. Hey, Cal didn't get stoned. Another battle. No, yeah, I think you just go straight into it. So yeah, this is the final chapter. Well, this is a little scary. These are Crimson Eyes. These are actually pretty strong. I think we're gonna have to back up. Because I can't get in the range of this thing. Let's back it on up, boys. Be a little bit more patient here. Usually I feel like... Huh. I don't know, I feel like those enemies usually don't spawn like that, but... But they did now, and that's what's important. We can fight him next turn, it's just... I can't see feasibly, like, getting into the range of that, dragon. Just seems too, like, sketchy. Him with a spear, Vanessa, really? Can't kill him? At least she tried her best. You know, Crit got a lot of front-loaded a lot of speed and has not gotten it since. Although, I guess if a character is gonna get any stat at any point, I'd much rather him get it early on and then rather than the other way around. Crit been fine. He's always fine. I think the biggest difference to me between him and like Vanessa is that Vanessa has a little bit more balanced in. That's a crit. Oh shit! You don't see a skeleton crit all the time. Oh wow. That was wild. Yeah, that was kind of cool, actually. I mean, it helps that he's not in any danger, so it doesn't matter, but... You do not see a skeleton crit all the time. But yeah, I think she's a little more balanced. She's got better resistance, so you can use her a little bit more liberally. And that speed is helpful, too. He doesn't quite have the speed she is. But Court makes solid, for sure. Ow. Skeleton crit. You don't see that every day. Oh, well, speaking of speed. Alright, let's kill as many of these guys as we can. Okay, so he can actually only go to there. Can he go... Okay, so we can move him here. Yeah, these... Normally the eyeballs are, like, nothing, but these Crimson Eye promoted ones are quite strong. Nothing to scoff at, that's for sure. I'm gonna be the first bad Garrick level up I've had. He's terrible, I should stop using him. Not strong enough. It's okay though. 2 crit? No, there's no way, right? I'm not actually sure what a crit looks like. I think they just like do weird stuff with their eye. I mean, that's all they really can do, right? It's just one big eye. I guess it's probably better if Merc kills the last one. We can... Can the dragon get to her if she goes up there? Strength. No. 74. So as you can see, even with being like fairly liberal with the Dragonstone as we've gone through, I still have 16 hits left, and that's gonna be plenty for this, for the rest of this chapter and the final boss. So you definitely don't have to be like super reserved when it comes to it. I could bait him out and easily kill him next turn. I mean, it's not like Seth's gonna be able to do anything to him, but with a javelin, but we may as well. Talk about Myrrh. I believe in you. Yeah, see, this is the same thing. It doesn't count defense, so it always looks much higher than it, like... You're always like, oh my god, this must have, like, 50 attack to do that much damage. It's like, no, it just has 30. Oh, that's right. Oh, man. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, we got some boys over here. Some boys in the hood. Alright, who wants to kill this guy? Oh, wow. I don't really want to use Murph, I don't have to. Where's Seth? Oh, that is Seth. Sure, that looks pretty good. And that looks even better! I love when it like takes extra time because the enemy just has so much health, so the guy's just... Your character's just sitting there like waiting. You get another speed. This is honestly, not that it really matters, but this is like one of the best Dusels I've ever had. And multiple speed. I think he's gotten 2 speed, 3 strength, 1 defense. That's pretty good. For Dusel, that's like ridiculous. Dusel is one of those units that you're there for the bases, not for any of the growths, because you're just not going to get very much. But if you get something, it's icing on the cake. Yeah, let's make sure we deal with these guys before we do anything crazy. Still not ready to be promoted. Maybe this is the one that has the halberd. Nope. Oh, Sword Reaver is actually a little annoying though, but it's fine. It's fine. Eh, solid. The rest is earlier boy, Kyle over Ford. I like Kyle better. I don't think that it's that relevant. So, to me, Kyle Ford is kind of similar to Kent Sane, and I've always preferred Sane a bit. I think Ford has decent growth across the board, but I think I like Kyle's bases a little bit more, and I like that he's got a little bit better, like, the way I look at it, and I could be wrong about this, I do think they're both good characters, but Kyle has good strength and defense, probably a little bit worse speed, and then almost definitely worse skill. But I don't think skill's that important. So I think the overall stats that he gets in the more important stats, being attack and defense, outweigh that. And also, like, on the chapter, I gained them both like 2 levels, and Ford got like okay levels, but Kyle got like quite good levels because he had like 10 attack, 10 defense, and like 9 speed, which just looked a lot better than Ford, so I decided to use him. But yeah, I've always preferred that type of unit to the more balanced type. But I think they're both really solid units, and you can absolutely use either one or both. Normally I'll use Kyle in more of like a filler role just for some stats. I'll promote him kind of early, and then use Franz a lot, but obviously Franz died. But Ford can probably fulfill that just fine too. I also like, if you don't gain them a ton of experience, I think Kyle more consistently gets like decent strength, which makes him better. Whereas sometimes Ford is just like, has like 10s across the board and you can't do anything, you know, so. But they're both solid units. for sure. I kind of wanted to try training them both, but I didn't. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 11 resistance. Okay, so I want to take like, I mean, I'll take a bunch, but it'll be alright. No, no. But I've never actually looked at their like average stats and figured out like which one I liked better. It's kind of the same reason that I always tend to use Sane. I either use Kent and Sane or I just use Sane. Which is weird because in FE6 I always use Lance and not, or Lance over Alan or both. So I don't know why it's different for me in that game. I guess I don't know. It's just sort of a preference thing. Damn. So the plan now is to basically bait the 5 shadow shots from both these guys, and then try to make a play for Lion at some point. That's my plan, and I'm sticking to it. Alright, I guess she can just stand there and keep taking the shadow shot. Fine. Can you guys just not move? Yeah. Oh. Minimum run, FE6, 1 bad, 1 good, outperform Lance. Lance's better skills handy. He's weaker than Alan though. Yeah, I think so. One of the other reasons, at least specifically in that game, that I change a little bit is because Lance. So I think overall, in the end, Alan will be better because once they kind of get to the same speed, because Alan will be fast too. Alan will be the better character, but the early part of that game is so stat intensive. And part of the reason I like Lance is that he's very consistent on speed. Like, he's a really fast unit. And like you mentioned, he's also got really good skill. And normally I tend to kind of shit on skill. And rightfully so. I think it's not great in most games. But in FE6, skill is a genuinely good stat, especially early on. And speed is a really important stat. Because Alan will, like, really struggle to double anything for a very long time. Whereas Lance can start doubling fairly early if he has the right level ups. So for me, I've always preferred at least training Lance. Oh, jeez. At least training Lance is my like go-to one because I think he has, even though in the end Alan will be the better character, I think he has better potential immediately than Alan. So again, I think it's a preference thing, and I'm not sure that it's like necessarily correct, but for me, that's why I've always gravitated toward Lance. Because like, he is weaker, but if you can get them to start doubling, which again, I think Lance or Alan really struggles with, whereas Lance can start relatively early, then Lance will be better because he'll be able to hit twice, and he's more consistent with the hits, so that's why I like him. But I also, like I said, almost always train whatever the other one is. Also, what I'll do sometimes because again, I think stats are so important, is I'll train them both a decent amount, which I just do no matter what. And then who's ever like looking better, that's the one that I'll kind of commit to. Because like, again, I almost always train both of them, so they're usually not that far apart as far as levels are concerned. And who's ever just like gotten more consistent level ups is usually the one I focus on for my first promote. But it tends, like I said, it tends to be Lance just because he tends to be more consistent in speed, which I like a lot in that game, and skill. But they're both awesome for sure. The spider is coming. Also, one of the strats that I like to use when I play Iron Man's of FD6 is I don't normally do anything with supports, but I will build support between Lance and Al. So you can do Roy and, because Chapter 7 is just insane. So you can do Roy and Marcus, and you can do Lance and Alan, and I think they're both extremely useful. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh wow. So if you do that, then training both of them is really, really good, because they have to stand next to each other, at least in that chapter, so. But that's a way, I won't say that that's like cheesing it, but if you ever want to like make it a little bit easier, building those two supports is, specifically for Chapter 7, is amazing. Because you can have Marcus, you can do the turn 2 recruits with Marcus and Roy, and have that support so they don't die. And then you can basically use Lance and Alan as like, largely invulnerable because of like high support stuff. Sports coming from even skilled players, yeah. It depends. That's basically the only one that I ever do, because I just think that like hit percentage in that game is really annoying. It depends. I do it a lot now just because I want a lot of my runs to get past that point. And that's kind of the most consistent way to do it. But I've certainly done the game, and I've done Chapter 7 without it, and, you know. But it is useful to train them both just because of that. How many more shadow shots do you have? One more. Yeah. I mean, Fire Emblem as a game is really only ever going to be as hard as you make it. Even if you're on the hardest difficulty doing Iron Man's, if you really want to play just the like slowest, grindiest, support-oriented 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like way, I mean, just about any game can be. I don't watch a lot of other people play, but I remember watching this guy once, and he was like, I think he's playing Shadow Dragon, and he was just crawling through it was just, and no, I mean, no fault to him, like, he was having a great time, and so were the people watching him, but, like, if you want to play that way, that's how I do 6 a lot. I'll play really slowly. It's definitely the way to be the most consistent. It depends on the game, it depends on the player, and, you know, all that good stuff. Like, even this, like, if you really wanted to, you could try to make a play for the boss right now, but obviously it's a lot safer to just do this. Everything within they can't save village and recruit. Yep, and that's the beauty of the game, is there is always that sort of looming. I think the best maps are the ones that genuinely have something that forces you to play, to not just turtle up, because if you do turtle up over and over again, it's really difficult for any map to be that crazy difficult. It's 5,000 gold in the first village. That's true. That is very true. That is very true. I think the true art is finding the middle ground, right, between still doing the cheesy turtle tactics, but going fast enough to get at least what's important. And that's where, like, knowing what kind of stuff you actually want. Like, you don't have to get everything all the time. I mean, you certainly can. Like, even in the defend chapter in this, like, I finished it, we finished it within, like, 3 turns or whatever, so I didn't get a single chest. But you have to know that, like, there's nothing you want out of those chests and you're going to want later on to be able to do that. Obviously, in Chapter 1 of Fire Emblem 6, you really want that village. Alright, I'm pretty sure no one else is going to move. Let's see how much we can do to... I'm going to move up a little bit. I think this is safe. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to kind of get everyone in a position here. I want to say I did this once, and then suddenly everybody started moving, and they, like, killed 2 of my characters, and it was a disaster. But I'm sure that won't happen. Oh, well, he can stone from there, yeah. Can I get that money, Yikes, for you? Yeah, absolutely. And that's, like I said, I think those are the strongest sort of map designs, are the ones that force you to do... They force you into doing something uncomfortable. Because Fire Emblem, like a lot of things in life, are very much one of those things where when you're in control and you have a plan and you're executing it properly, things feel great. And I think Fire Emblem's best when it isn't like bullshit frustrating, but it forces you to deviate from that. This guy is bulky as hell. 1 crit. Alright, let's do Mur and Seth. That should kill him, right? 21. I really hope this 3 crit doesn't hit, because I need Mur for the final boss. Oh, that's a crit. Is that enough to kill? Oh, not quite. Where did I go wrong? Well, you fought Mur for one thing. I mean, that's just not a good strategy. Look at this big honking dude. Which to pierce the enemy. Can't be. That was kind of depressing. Never stop fighting. Never. When does Garrett get to take a break? Beat his ass. Sorry, I gotta get that bread. That is very true. It's just kind of sad. Alright, I'm going to use the bathroom, and then we're gonna hopefully beat the game. I'll be right back. Alright. So we don't have Tethys, which is, well, like a broken record at this point. Is not good, but... Probably gonna have to set up. Can't remember exactly how much health he has. I also don't remember if he attacks back. $30 damage. I'm trying to think if we can do it all in one turn, or if I should attack him with at least one guy, and then heal with the Rachel. She can't quite go far enough. 11 times 2. Is that better than what Seth could do? I suppose I could heal Seth. 30, sure. Fuck him up, Seth. I think this final boss is pretty pog. He also can do a lot of stuff, but usually I kill him pretty quick, so... He has, yeah, he's like Nightmare... Ravager, he can like summon things. Got a whole bevy of stats. Oh, wait, is that not enough for him to not die? Shoot. We can put the... I'm sure he'll just attack the Phantom, which is over here. If he attacks. He might not actually attack. I think he might walk around and summon shit. I don't really remember how this goes. Either way, as long as it's not one of our lords dying, we're okay. I like the centaur he just summoned that's like in the middle of all my units. What the fuck? Oh yeah, he just summons. Okay. Oh, big! This is a big arena. Damn. Or notice how big it is. Oh, we can see his health. How fast is he? 19 speed, and obviously it's a good way down. Ow. Alright, can we have a frame finish this? Can we hit him one more time for 0? Fuck him up, Phantom! Yeah! Oh, he actually hit! That's a 29%. He didn't deal any damage, but at least he tried. Oh! He missed. Okay. Let's have a frame finish this. I mean, I guess if both these 65% miss... I'm going to kill you. Yeah, no, we gathered that, Ephraim. Nice. We did it! Heck yeah. It's a big target to miss. I know, I know. And this needs some context or something. Why is Amelia here? What's she doing? We've done it. Or Renok. He just wants to steal shit. Oh, we ride for home! Our home is destroyed, but... How silly of me. Everybody wants Ephraim. I mean, who wouldn't want Ephraim? He did kill the final boss. A landslide? It's very noble of you. So like, I don't want to be that guy, but I think Eric and Ephraim probably like each other maybe a little too much, which is fine. You know, I don't judge, but oh, we did it! Hell yeah! We had what? 6 deaths? It's okay. It's reasonable. I like these little images that they show. I wish there was more of them actually. It's pretty good. Nothing too crazy from this run, I think. The end game was a lot easier than the Volter, I think. Usually I feel like I struggle with some of those chapters, but they all seem to go pretty fluidly. I guess we did lose Garcia on that one, and then Tethys, but overall pretty smooth, I would say. MVP, I think it has to be Seth, obviously. I think Kyle was also pretty good, although he fell off a little bit. Our Garrick was ridiculous. Our Vanessa was good, although she really missed that energy drop for sure. She was really strong, as always. Mur was insane. I don't think there's anything too out of the ordinary. I think our Garcia was better than usual. He seemed good. I don't train him a lot. Yeah, not too much else. Pretty good. Pretty sure for a run. Solid. Super Mario Club. No, Lion. I'm not. Alright, let's see. So, Bandits took forever. That's where we trained Ross. Unbroken Heart. I'm surprised that took so long. Full Rigwell takes forever, yeah. Father and Son. A lot of really fast chapters at the end. That's usually the way it goes. Except for Sacred Stone. That one takes a little bit. Seth, obviously our best character is as per usual. He's amazing. I actually don't, I was saying this before, as good as Seth is, I tend to kind of not use him a ton, just because I have so many other units to train. The fact that 4 Franz died and the fact that I was kind of forced to use him a little more definitely made him stronger than he usually is. But... Army's wondering if Iron Man's earned his R7 making them out to me. Again, if you're... Fire Hip and Iron Man. Well, I mean, a big part of it, as I've said before, is just like experience, right? Like, I mean, Sacred Stone's, I guess, a little bit different because I don't think there's a lot to learn with Sacred Stones, but like, if you see me play like either 7 or 6 or whatever, I mean, I've like grinded so many runs that just, I mean, when I played through 7 for the first time, I couldn't get past chapter like 5 for like forever. Like it was a disaster after disaster. So, poor Garcia. So it really is just like, it's just learning the maps and stuff. I think a big part of Fire Emblem 2 is just like focus on good characters. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, but like, I don't know. Like if you play this game and you just use Seth and Franz and, you know, the best of the best. But I think another big thing is, and I think I've said this before too, but like having plans for specific chapters is really important. Like when I play most chapters, I'll immediately start moving units in a specific direction or a specific way, and it's usually because I have a plan that's worked before, and so I'll do it again. But if you're just going into stuff blind, it might seem really difficult because you don't necessarily have, like, for example, Fire Emblem 7, some of those early chapters, like, it took me a while to figure out exactly how I wanted to position everything to make them work, so... But I do think the Sacred Stones is definitely one of the easier ones, barring a couple of chapters, for sure. Like, I think a great example, this is what I always think back to, in Fire Emblem 7, I can't remember the name of the chapter, but it's an early one. It's the one where you get Lyn again, and there's like Lyn and Kent and Sane and Will, I think it's Will in that game, over on the bottom right side. And I always really struggled with handling this because the units just kind of suck. The Pegasus Knights that come right away are really annoying to deal with, and I would lose Lyn a lot, and I would lose units a lot, and I would really struggle there. And then eventually I realized that you could put Will in a position where he could fight both Pegasus Knights on enemy phase. With the Javelin, you might have already realized this, I don't know how obscure it is, but and then you get really good damage on both Pegasus Knights that you can end the next turn, and Will doesn't die. But until you learn like exactly that can be really difficult if you don't have exactly that plan. And I think there's a lot of examples throughout the games of little things like that where putting this unit in this specific spot can completely change the way this map functions. And that's something you just learn with playing, you know. So I don't know if that was helpful. I'm just rambling, but that's what I think. Statistician. Is it possible to divorce your knowledge of a level from your system and how difficult the level is? Yeah, that's 100% true. And a big part of Fire Emblem, like, there are things that you have to figure out on the fly, but like for the most part, it's like anything in life. It's like, have you done it before? Do you know how to handle it in this capacity? Because a lot of Fire Emblem is like, do you know what's about to happen even? Like, do you know how this level tends to go? Like, are you running into this and then suddenly 3 Pegasus Knights are going to show up on your left? And like, if you're not aware of that, you know, of reinforcements or reinforcement zones, that kind of stuff, the hell you need a plan. Something implies an amount of knowledge in advance. Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, you certainly don't need, like, running into chapters and just like that's how I did most of the stuff, figuring out like strats and stuff, is you just brute force and you figure out what works and what doesn't. But yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like anything, right? If you go into it with a plan, it's going to be a lot easier than, um, Fire Emblem isn't. No part of Fire Emblem. Well, I shouldn't say no part of Fire Emblem is random because Fire Emblem is almost entirely random. But as far as the way that um, maps play out and reinforcements spawn and characters you obtain and that kind of stuff, it's never random. So if you keep using the same strats over and over again, you're gonna have pretty similar results over and over again. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I'm not saying that that's like the best way to go about it. I'm not saying that the most fun way to play Iron Man's is to go look up a bunch of strats and utilize them. That might be what you like. I don't know. For me, it was like, again, just like banging my head into map after map. And for a long time, I never felt like it was possible. Like I would look at. I remember the first time I played Fire Emblem 6, just hard mode, not Iron Man, and I watched a guy do it, and I was kind of following what he was doing, but I was struggling so much, and I thought just how impossible it would be to string together an entire playthrough where you never reset or anything and you don't lose. Like, how would you do that? I just didn't understand it. But then you slowly work through it, and you get this far, and then this far, and then this far, and then eventually you can replicate that. But no, yeah, for sure. When I was first playing, I mean, Hector Hard Mode. When I was a kid, I didn't even know Hector Hard Mode was a thing. Then I realized it was a thing, and I couldn't even play through it non-Iron Man. Like it was just like insane. I just couldn't figure it out. I remember I had this file that was on like Four-Fanged Alliance with like no good characters and like a Sane that wasn't promoted with like max strength, and it was just a disaster every time I tried it, and I was like, this is impossible. Did it with Sophia and Toe. Yeah, exactly. And that's I think the fun part of it is you can kind of, once you have figured it out enough, you can start to incorporate the more like fun things. Like when someone says, let's train Sophia, it's like, okay, I can figure that out. You can incorporate that into your game. But yeah, the first time you're playing, obviously, like, stay the fuck away from Sophia, But it does take time. And that's part of the reasons that I keep doing these as opposed to like some of the other ones. Like even Thracia, like I had played through Thracia a couple of times, but I never Iron Made it. I Iron Made it for the first time on the channel. We actually made it fairly far, which I was really proud of. But that was just a nightmare, like chapter after chapter of like, yeah, I just did not have strats for figuring stuff out. I made it to like chapter 18 or something, but yeah, there was just no way that was ever going to be a completed run. I just didn't have consistent strats for that kind of stuff. So, well, we did it. We did do it, Matt. Heck yeah, poggers. I told you. I told you. I done been telling you. I done been telling you. Well, and actually, probably the best example of that, because again, like if I play these games, it seems pretty simple. But when I was doing Radiant Dawn for that time, like, I mean, we reset Radiant Dawn, and granted, Radiant Dawn has some bullshit in it, but we reset Radiant Dawn like 20, 30 times. I don't even know how many times. Maybe not that many, but and even then, I didn't even make it that far into the game. 2/3 or so. So. Like that, I think the Radiant Dawn playthroughs were a good example of watching me like do something for the first time, and you can see like just how difficult it was for me. So like when you see these runs and like it's fairly like straightforward, it's because I've done it like a lot of times. It can be daunting for sure. Facts, yeah. Best streamer 2020, hell yeah. Well, I appreciate that you guys think that. Well, that was a fun run. I haven't done Sacred Stones in a little while. Yeah, I guess this is where I'll end the stream for today. I feel good about that. I don't know when the next time I'll stream is. Maybe what is tomorrow? Saturday? Maybe tomorrow. Um, I'd like to be more consistent, but you never know. And maybe we'll do some other game. Who knows? Maybe we'll do 6 again. I love 6. But yeah, thanks for watching, especially you, Wheelie. I always love hanging out with you. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day and the weekend.